Hey guys, welcome to another Hunter video. I'm a Night Elf Hunter on the Whisperwind server, and I've been getting a lot of questions from people who don't play a Hunter about what to do as a Hunter or how they should start. So I'm gonna show you a guide right now on what race you should pick for either the Alliance or the Horde. And I'm gonna focus my judgment on the race depending on a Beastmaster Hunter because that's what I know the best, and that's the one where I'm most comfortable giving out advice. Now here we have a Dwarf. A Dwarf is a pretty good choice for a hunter, and that's only because it's kind of limited in terms of what you can find. Now the first skill we're going to look at is Find Treasure, which might be useful. However, you can only track one thing at a time, and so once you're tracking Find Treasure, you're not tracking any of the monsters. So that may be extra DPS out or trying to find quests, but this will be helpful for quests as well. And so your typical resistance ratio, a gun specialization ratio, which increases critical hit with a gun. And so that being said, a dwarf should be using a gun at all times if possible. That way you can have just more DPS. Mace specialization, not useful at all for a hunter. And stone form. Now stone form isn't too useful for a typical hunter. However, for a tanking hunter, this might be very useful because increases armor and takes away quite a few of the debuffs that hurt you, which could be fairly useful because, as we all know, if you die, your pet dies, and there's no point in tanking anymore. Now here we have a Draenei. Now a Draenei is a very good choice, probably the best choice for a hunter on the Alliance side. So first we have gem cutting, and gem cutting is great if you want to go into geocrafting. Gift of the Naru. Now this heals the target, and most likely either your pet or yourself, and it's healed in scale with your attack power if you're a hunter. Now this is very good for Beastmaster because with a Beastmaster, you should be stacking as much attack power as possible because that's where most of your DPS would derive from. And so it's always great to have a heal, and a big heal for a Beastmaster Hunter. Heroic Presence, which increases your hit rating by 1% for you and your pet if it's within 30 yards. Now this is very good because hit rating is probably the most important stat for a hunter. And shadow resistance, just your typical ratio resistance spell. And now the Night Elf, which is what I am. Now the Night Elf, the reason why I fell in love with the Night Elf is because of one skill, which I'll get to soon. But first, we're going to take a look at nature resistance. Again, your typical ratio resistance. Quickness, which isn't too helpful for a hunter because you're not usually getting attacked or you're tanking. But that 2% actually does help times I haven't wiped up boss fights because of this skill. Now Shadow Meld, this is probably the best ratio in the game, arguably, but in my opinion it is. Shadow Meld will take you out of combat, so it's for hunter, it's like having 2 feigned deaths. And also you can use Shadow Meld along with your pet, which is you can have a cat or a spirit beast, and they both have prowl. So in PvP you could set yourself both to just fade and you're completely hidden, and you're just gonna wait for an unsuspecting priest to drop by and boom, pop all your cooldowns, and the priest is as good as dead. So kind of like a human trap, humanoid trap instead of an actual trap. And also the last skill that you have is Wisp. So when you die, you could run around as a wisp, which travels faster than the usual ghost. And it's very useful if you plan on dying a lot, which is kind of what I do because I take a lot of risks when I'm leveling up. So here we are looking at Blood Elves, and first it's a skill to increase enchanting, good if you're an enchanter. The next is Arcane Torrent, which is a great PvP skill, not so much any PvP use. So if someone comes too close to you and you can't shoot them with your bow, then Arcane Torrent, so that they can't stun you, and then disengage and blast them with your pet and bow. And the last one is magic resistance, which decreases the chance to be hit with magic spells. Now, overall, Blood Elf isn't probably your best choice for a hunter on the Horde side, just because there are definitely much better choices if you're just looking at racial passives or racial skills. Now here we have a troll. Now troll is a very good choice for a hunter, and the reason for that is, well, beast slaying is helpful for any class once you're a troll, because a lot of beasts are in Azeroth. Berserking. Now, Berserking is great if you're low on health, which increases your attack speed by up to 30%. So if you stack this buff or stack this skill along with your Bestial Wrath and your trinkets and your Call of the Wild and all your other skills, rapid fire especially, you shoot very fast, and that's an extra boost in DPS. And so we also have bow specialization, which again is great if you are using a bow, because increasing your critical damage is definitely great. Now, next skill is Voodoo Shuffle, and it'll decrease your movement impairing effects by 15%, which is a little good for probably just PvP. Regeneration, again, very good, especially when leveling, because you don't have to sit down and drink as much. And throwing specialization, which doesn't really do much for you at all. So now we're looking at the Torrent. Now with the Torrent, you have cultivation, which helps your herbalism. You also have endurance, which increases your health by 5%. Now, overall, I would say a Torrent isn't your best choice for a hunter on the Horde side, and just because there's a lack of a few skills, unless you're doing PvP, then it's very beneficial. The reason for that is War Stomp, which stuns all enemies within 8 yards for 2 seconds. That's way too powerful. Stuns everybody, and then you could disengage and start shooting them. So kind of like the Blood Elves, except just a better version of it. And also there was Nature Resist, which is same as the Night Elves. And last but definitely not least, the Orc. The Orc on the Horde side is probably the best choice you can make for a Beastmaster hunter, and that's because you have axe specialization, which doesn't really mean too much for a hunter. But the next skill, Blood Fury, now this increases your attack power, which scales up by level. So you could cast this along with your other racial cooldowns for Beastmaster, kind of like Berserking for the Troll, and increases your damage instead of your haste, which is very beneficial for Beastmaster Hunter, because increasing the haste will just increase your auto shot, where this will increase just overall damage. Command, which is probably the reason why a Beastmaster is best for an Orc, because 5% extra damage from your pet. Now, 50% of your DPS increased by 5%. You do the math. Hardness, which decreases stun duration. Good for PvP, but for PvE hunter like me, still good, actually. And that's it. Now, again, if you want to see what I ranked all these races for a hunter and a Beastmaster hunter, then go to my website, tribunalxhunter.com, and I'll have it listed there. And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and take care. Till next time.